Whoever is telling Governor Gavin Newsom he's got a chance at being president has to be playing the longest practical joke ever, as these anti-ICE riots were ravaging Los Angeles, digging his most populated city even deeper into debt, already on top of turning his state's $100 billion surplus into a $73 billion deficit. Is he focused on actually fixing the situation for his citizens? No. He's busy suing Fox News.
These guys go after me 24/7. I'm a piñata. It's a defamation lawsuit because they willfully and knowingly distorted facts. They lied about a phone call that never occurred between the President of the United States and myself.
I just filed a lawsuit against Fox News for lies, for deceit.
As this literally looks like all he's doing now. Where you look at his personal social media account, all he does is constantly repost and highlight his lawsuit, which isn't much better than the official governor's account that is pretty much exclusively crying about President Donald Trump. There's some very serious issues in California, but the only thing their leader is concerned with is vanity, as he's suing Fox News for $787 million, citing Politico's articles saying it's a defamation case regarding a Trump phone call, but most importantly, stating that he will drop the lawsuit if Fox News retracts its claims and they apologize to Newsom on air, which only proves that this is strictly about vanity. He could be focused on fixing homelessness, the deficit, the incoming gas crisis that he's created, or basically anything other than trying to bring in $700 million from Fox, which isn't even 0.1% of his billion-dollar shortfall. And I understand those calculations probably aren't correct, but I graduated from California public school, so if anything, me not being math Asian is his fault, alongside me bad grammar. But why exactly is Newsom suing Fox News over Jesse Waters?
President, when is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job, he's doing a bad job.
Where Newsom replied, there was no call, not even a voicemail, only for Trump to post his phone records of a 16-minute call he had with Newsom. Now that image doesn't really prove anything, but Newsom being so adamant that he's not lying about a phone call just reminds the public of a time that he definitely lied about a Trump phone call.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
In seconds, Newsom went from, I'm literally talking to the president right now, to getting lightly challenged over his lie, transforming his response to, I've tried 5 times, but I can't get service. The simple fact that he could boldly lie to her face, then transition into the next likely lie, is all you really need to know about him. As a couple weeks ago, he cried about the ranch fire in Southern California, saying his National Guard fire crews were understaffed due to Trump's political stunt, only for leftism to call him out for disbanding the state's wildfire fighting team last year, then thoroughly dismantling everything about Newsom's claims, how he still has 20,000 guardsmen left, but instead of deploying them, he's too busy tweeting at the president. It's almost like every time his cities catch on fire, he doesn't see it as a disaster, but a political opportunity. As when the wildfires hit Los Angeles 5 months ago, he was seen seemingly dancing when talking about land grabs.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties.
And when Los Angeles again was on fire due to the anti-ICE riots, he was reportedly too busy to respond as he was out wine tasting. But when Vice President J.D. Vance came by to thank the Marines that were saving the city, suddenly Newsom had all the time in the world to come through for a debate. And notice how this marathon of bad press all comes back only after Newsom says he wants to sue Fox News over a phone call. As when you have such a large track record of failures, literally everything you say or do becomes a minefield of reminding your voters about the last time you fucked up the state. As his wine tasting fiasco just reminds us of when he ordered the state to lock down while he dined out at a fancy French laundry, at the same time somewhat apologizing for it.
And as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated. And I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up. and walked back, got in my car, and drove back. You can quibble about the guidelines, et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to apologize to you.
And recently on his podcast, regretting it.
You're whining and dining at French Laundry.
Yes, I was talking about the importance of never. Dumbest bonehead move of my life. Okay, own it, move on, grow up. And I'm trying to.
Is that you talking to yourself?
That's me talking to myself.
Okay.
I'm looking right at you in the eyes as I say that.
I'm so glad he's forgiven himself over this, just smiling and laughing as if he didn't destroy businesses and livelihoods over a sickness that he himself didn't seem too concerned about. But the big takeaway from his podcast with Charlie Kirk, where he sweat through his shirt, is Kirk remarking that Newsom wants to be president more than any living person, but no amount of podcast appearances or news network apologies is going to cancel out his career of failures, like his 2008 solution to solve homelessness.
Food solves hunger, that shelters solve sleep, and that housing solves homelessness. And that's why we established this framework, what we call a 10-year plan to end chronic homelessness in San Francisco.
And after tens of billions of dollars spent with no real tracking in place, it only appears to be getting worse. Alongside his 2010 plan to complete the high-speed rail,
I am sick and tired of hearing about how wonderful the transportation system is in France and Japan, and have you been to Shanghai, or do you know what they're doing in Beijing? Well, finally, California is going to get it right with this new high-speed rail.
which has also spent $15 billion with a completion date of 5 years ago, so no wonder Newsom seems so adamant to stop Fox News from criticizing him. And even if he won this lawsuit, and Fox News was scared away from ever criticizing him again, it still wouldn't change the fact that the #1 news app is X, which actually makes this doubly hilarious, as if this video makes it to 500,000 to 1 million views. You know Newsom's team will have to pass along what's being said here, as it is sort of the pulse of what the internet is feeling. And me calling him Newsom isn't to be mean, it's to highlight how mentally weak he is.
I've been living with that for years and years. New scum. The same 7th grade. I remember the guy on Baltimore Avenue that called me new scum. I was in 7th grade. I can handle that. We'll leave that aside.
As he constantly complains about this.
When I saw some tweet about Governor Newsom, a nickname, by the way, that's hardly original. There was an 8th grader.
The American people just voted for a president that took a round to the face and stood up completely unfazed. There's absolutely no way we're going to go from Trump to a guy that trauma dumps about his childhood bully whenever he's reminded of a nickname. So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.